Welcome to The Road to London, hosted by me, Majid Aswani, and sponsored by All3 Media International, Boat Rocker Studios, Boston Nova Media, and 7 One Studios International.
Welcome to ScreenMDM, Road to London Strand. My guest today is someone I've been fortunate enough to know for many years. Today, he is president of global content and rights at Boat Rocker Studios, my old friend, Jon Rutherford. Hi, Jon.
Hello, Mancha. Nice to see you again. As always, great
As
talking to you.
always, I
As
love
always.
chatting with you, Jon. Now, I know you are with the founders of Boat Rocker. You are now helping to position the company as a newly minted, independent, privately owned company working across scripted, factual, and kids. So I know this is your first London TV screenings in this new setup. So as you reach out to your clients at the event there, as you're talking to them in the run up to it, how you're positioning the company now and the message that you're sending to your clients about why this structure best positions the company for what remains a very complicated and challenged media landscape for all of us.
This is very true. Complicated it is, but it's actually a very exciting time right now to be announcing this, to actually leading up to London screenings. Being a public company comes with various constraints, and you end up doing more than maybe what your core strategy was intended to be, in order to have a successful public company. And so what we've been able to do now since we went private is to really put together a succinct strategy that sets us up for success in the future. And Boat Rocker Studios was always the core nucleus of our business across producing, distribution, brand and licensing, content investment, and strategy. That all stays the same. And now we can really zero in on that and really focus on that strategy. So service work for hire, not a core part of our strategy. Obviously, there are decisions we'll do when it comes to an opportunity in the market to do a business model along that structure. But ultimately, we have capital to invest in content. That is our number one priority, to own content, to co-own content, to partially own, and to maintain rights, and to use our expertise in the global marketplace and monetize assets to the best of our ability, get a return of our investment, get a return to our producing partners, and continue to grow our catalog, our library of owned or partially owned content. And so now this is our time to do that. We have a great long-term strategy in place in order to achieve these results. And we're putting the team in place to allow for this growth to take place. Here we go.
How have you curated your lineup based on the needs in the market right now and what your clients are telling you, the kind of the gaps that they need to fill in their schedules in the year or two ahead?
It's a perfect opportunity to unveil some of the new partnerships that we've been doing over the last many months. We ventured into our co-production side of our business again in the last year to 2 years, and now there's some of these projects are culminating with an unveiling. We are a Toronto headquartered company, so our roots are Canadian in terms of how we put projects together and greenlight, but we have a strong presence in the US. We have an LA office and a strong team there. We have our international offices in London and in Hong Kong. And so we source content globally
Yeah.
and partnership opportunities globally. We've never been specific to one region. Our London screening slate is an example of that, especially in scripted. And so the first one we're unveiling is a partnership with Axon TV, part of Nippon TV, and that is called Blood and Sweat. That is a co-production with Wow Wow in Japan and Nellinen in Finland. ICS is the production partner in Finland.
Wow.
We came on board to help put the final pieces together and be a producer on it, an investor and a distributor. And it's two worlds colliding. It's a crime investigation that spans centuries between Japan and Finland that culminates in this new mystery with two detectives that are joined together from two parts of the world and to come together and solve this mystery and this crime. So really excited to show a sneak peek on that one as well in advance of its launching. And
Yeah.
so that'll be front and center. And we also have sort of like a kind of a part two of a soft unveiling we did at MIPCOM on a series called The Ridge. which is produced by Great Southern and Center Films in New Zealand. And it's a New Zealand Scottish production. And it follows a woman, a Scottish doctor, who travels to New Zealand for her sister's wedding, only to find her dead, potentially murdered, on arrival. And therefore the mystery unfolds. And then we have a couple other potential follow-ups, second seasons of existing projects that we want to unveil in our event.
What are the trends that you're seeing in terms of newly opening up opportunities for collaboration and co-production?
Again, it goes back to our roots as Canadian producer and distributor, right? Those types of productions were never financed by one source ever. And so you are always pulling in financing from multiple areas, whether it's private funds, equity partners, your tax incentives, a pre-buy from another country, your commissioning broadcaster. And so in some ways, we've gone back to our roots. We've never left them. We'll still produce some peak TV era American content. That's also part of the Boat Rocker DNA. But our focus really is zeroing in and trying to use our expertise to put complicated financial structures together with multiple partners. The benefit of having capital to spend means that we can also act as a commissioner. We can help be the glue to help put projects together. It all depends on the scale and the size of a production budget. And certainly everyone's more mindful today about cost effectiveness in their production budgets, because again, when you have one source paying for it, that's not the focal point. When you have multiple partners in, you're trying to get to a place where you can finance your show. And so everybody has to be mindful of how to do things in the most clever, efficient way possible these days, so we can move to greenlight. There are a lot of opportunities globally of where we can insert ourselves into a partnership to benefit everyone involved, to be a commissioner, to be an investor, to be a distributor, to be a co-producer, giving creative feedback and notes that allow for global success. We don't have to be the physical producer on everything we do. We often aren't. We can be if it benefits the partnership and the production. And if not, we're happy to work with amazing production partners that do what they do extraordinarily well. And then we fill the void where we can offer value. And there's lots of opportunities and lots of ways that we can contribute. And we've been utilizing our experience and skill set to do so.
How are you balancing the factual market?
When we built Boat Rocker from, especially on the global side, from very little, right? There was no footprint. Factual unscripted was certainly an area of growth early on because volume was important. It allowed us to build the infrastructure of the business and start layering in more content, more partnerships as we went. We have a strong handle on the demand in the unscripted factual space through consolidation and downsizing of broadcast opportunities. That we started to zero in on a few subgenres: history, mystery, space, true crime, science, and tech. And with great, strong partners, Shark Teeth Films is one of them, we were able to co-finance or self-finance content. And again, really, finding ways to produce effectively, efficiently at the right level allowed for us to be that commissioner, utilize our capital, get things financed, get things into production, get them greenlit. And so we have been developing a slate of shows with partners and within the Boat Rocker Studios itself of shows that we believe and know that we can have partners lined up globally to buy them as either a pre-buy or a standard acquisition and build a model that allows us to do that. And been working incredibly well. You need the infrastructure, you need the knowledge and experience, you need the sales team, you need the capital, and you need strong production partners or production experience to do so. And you put that all together, and it's really allowed us to be successful in this space and greenlight quickly and efficiently and not have to develop too long. Development is super important to get it right, to get exactly what the buyers want, our partners want, but then strike when we feel like we have something and get it moving. Actual specifically lends itself to more of a pre-buy acquisition or standard acquisition space as the new way to commission shows versus scripted, which obviously is a lot more expensive and does require more commissioning type financing. Unscripted factual, especially in those genres, we've been able to move them forward on our own.
Interesting. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what you see happening in the kid space and what's really driving the success of your division with these big brands that you've been able to scale and spin off. And I love Dino Ranch. It's adorable.
Thank you. The kids and family side of the business certainly has seen its challenges in the last
Mm.
few years. Fortunately, we were able to establish two long-running brands in the
Yeah.
kids space that has helped us significantly. One, The Next Step, which is well over 10 years old now. We have well over 200 episodes of content, and the demand is there to continue to make more. We have some
Yeah.
key strong partners, the BBC being our number one partner on the show, very supportive, huge fan base.
Mm.
We're able to build a community around it. And so, spin-off opportunities like The
Mm.
Next Step Cheer has certainly allowed us to continue at that brand and success in that space. And then Dino Ranch was,
Yeah.
really lovely brand that emerged during the heart of COVID and found an audience and found an opportunity, and we have great partners on that show,
Mm.
always have. We brought in new partners as well for the spinoff for Dino Ranch Island Explorers. CBC has always been the nucleus of that as our commissioning partner. Island Explorers now has Warner Brothers involved in that across UK
Mm.
and EMEA and Amazon in the US. That one obviously comes from Industrial Brothers, from the brain of
Yeah.
Matt Fernandez, who's brilliant, creative genius, Matt, a good friend of mine. And having creative internal at that level so that when we do talk to the buyer's needs, again, just like I said on unscripted, what do they want? What do you look for? Unscripted, you can move quick, you can develop fast, you
Yeah.
can get things to market. Scripted and kids takes longer, but when you have a Matt within your organization, you can have a meeting with someone, they can tell you what you're looking for, and we can get something great to them within weeks, not even a week, maybe. That immediate response is super valuable. It's been super effective in allowing us to get things moving. We have other projects in development that will be announced. So, we've been able to weather the storm fairly well. It's still not easy. There's still challenges, and there will continue to be, but thankfully we have a good library, good catalog, good couple brands that we can build around.
Now, you mentioned Next Step, and I saw the BBC announced a Next Step related microdrama, which I thought was amazing. How are you looking at the vertical video space?
It has to be in the back of our mind for sure. It has to be a consideration on how we incorporate into our brands. Our immediate view, similar to how we've handled YouTube in the past, as well as
Mm.
some other types of exposure opportunities, is to utilize these new methods around existing brands and create complementary short form content that can grow a brand further, and use it as a storytelling technique to bridge gaps of information. The
Mm.
opportunity on the Next Step microdrama with BBC is that story. It is the gap between the Next Step season 10, which was
Mm.
the last season of the Next Step at that moment in time, and the Next Step Cheer, which is a
Yeah.
spinoff with some existing characters from the original Next Step universe, and new characters. And so it was a cool storytelling technique and a way to give to the fans who will certainly want to know where that story unfolds, how the Cheer spinoff comes about. We're going to continue to do those types of things, and we're going to monitor, and we're going to see how we can utilize microdramas and things of that nature to grow the brand, to really allow us to elevate. And from there, we'll decide if we want to do more originals in that space. I think everything in the experimental landscape for us, it's how do we use it as a marketing and promotion and awareness driver first and foremost. And then once we see how it works, we can then know how to monetize from it.
Final thoughts on plans for London TV screenings, if there's anything else you wanted to tell us about that. And I guess sort of big picture priorities as you're running a company at a time of great transition. What are some of your short to midterm? I hate asking long term because I feel like looking 12 months out feels impossible. But, in your first sort of full year as this independent, privately owned entity, what are some of the things that you're focusing on in the months ahead?
Yeah, I would say, it's content, content, content. Let's find the best content on the market, either through creating it in our own means or working with partnerships. We want lots of partnerships. We want to be able to find the best content in the world and be able to invest into it and allow for this great content that will generate a return of that investment and be seen around the world to get made. So that's really where we're going to focus on. And we're open for business. This can be to everyone on the marketplace. The world is our pipeline, right? If there's great projects that we feel like are solid, creatively great, there's audiences for them, there's buyers for them, you see that return, we're in, right? We want to move and do more. Owned content, library acquisition, we want to build our catalog. We want to build our portfolio with really strong opportunities. So we will be looking at opportunities in the marketplace where there could be further growth to add to our content library, and from there potentially produce spin-offs or reboots of older content where applicable, where it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and then the London screenings for us is, we're doing it boat rocker style like we normally do. It's a hybrid unveiling upfront and, nice fun cocktail event, in typical boat rocker fashion. We like to, create a community. We have a great showcase of content, but it's also going to be, a really good opportunity to bring the community together and have a fun evening. Yeah. So that's our focus. That's what London Screenings is, and that's what the year ahead's going to look like.
Well, it sounds like a good one. I love the boat rocker way, so I'm looking forward to it. Jon, thank you. It is always a delight chatting with you. Thank you for giving me so much time to tell me about the road ahead for Boat Rocker. Thank you.
Our Road to London sponsors are all taking part at the London TV screenings. Boat Rocker Studios on Monday night, 7-1 Studios on Wednesday morning, Bossa Nova Media on Wednesday evening, and All 3 Media International early Thursday afternoon.